Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world and whenever you're joining us. Maybe you're watching this back later on. So today I'm joined by Sandra Meloni. She is one of the other G100 Robotics, Automation and STEM Wing chairs, country chairs. She's the country chair for Italy. I'm the country chair for Germany. And today we just want to have a conversation and share a bit about Sandra's journey, what she's been on, and some of her learnings, because when we're looking for people who we can follow but also look up to, there are so many different ways of moving within the world of technology, and that's the space that both Sandra and I play in very different setups. And so I think it's quite nice that we're here today to have a chat with Sandra, who's somebody who comes from a very different background, actually. So Sandra's got a degree in biology, and also was doing it whilst working as a restorer and trainer for the restoration of ancient wooden artifacts. So, and now she says that technology and innovation education have always sort of been her passion and this curiosity that she's had about learning. So she's got a not-for-profit, a social cooperative actually, for creating nursery and infant school innovative educational programs, and uses this kind of her passion for educational robotics. So I'm super curious based on everything I've heard about you, and Sandra and I don't know each other that well, but we've kind of interacted a couple of times, to just dig in a little bit and see what's going on. But maybe, Sandra, I'd like you to kind of give our audience a bit of an overview as to who you are and what's important for you.
Oh, well, so it's well, as I told you before, it's not so easy for me. I'm a boomer. That's true, and this is real. I come from an era when we had only the phones were analogical, not digital, and but I've always really been so passionate with the science, and but not only science, but also science mixed with humanistic and educational point of view of science. I was passionate with well, once I said I would have liked to go to the moon, but obviously I could not. It was so too difficult at the age. Maybe now I could, but I'm too old now. And but also in biology, I was interested, with ethology and animals' behaviors, for example. Then when I went to university, I found out that research maybe was too abstract for my way of thinking, and I started restoring wooden artifacts, and then used some innovative technology to analyze, paintings and this kind of thing. It was the first time we used spectrography, mass spectrography. It was really the beginning of this kind of use at the time. And so anyway, everywhere I went, I was looking for innovative way of doing things in a different way, because, when my son was born, there were no kindergarten in my town. It was very difficult to find. So I would not have worked if I didn't find a kindergarten. And so I created one myself. I built it physically also with my hands. We built all the furnitures and pavements and everything. We could do this with my husband, which has always been very, maybe he's a victim of me in this kind of things, but he was always very present. And then later on, I made a gift to my son, which was a robot, a Lego robot, and we found out this world of robotics competitions together. And as a group of family team, with friends of him, we participated, and then I started working in this area and training and experimenting new things in this. So, well, it's.
And what stands out to me is you see a problem and you do something about it. you see an opportunity and you try and create something that, that inspires not just yourself but other people. So I'm just curious, what is that? What is it that drives you?
Well, I simply, I was in the Scouts also when I was a young girl, and something which makes, which is very important in Scout about is the world community. So it's a networking between people of all the world with the same goal, which is making the world a little better than you find it, even a little, but make it better. And this is what really moves me. I mean, to me, it's important. It was important even before I had my child and my girl. But now it's even more important because obviously I want to leave a better world to them. And so I just love to find solutions and networking different things, which seems not to be talking each other, which is always, we have a society which is very, very divided in different categories, both from age. So if you are 16, you don't talk to someone which is 15 because it's not your age. Genders, obviously, and so women's talks with women's, but on the jobs are different for women and girls and men. It was even more true when I was a young girl, even if there was a little period when I think we were changing, but now we are going back. We are losing something instead of going on, and this is something which is really worrying me. So while I believe in networking, I mean, we are all maybe on a physical point of view, when a butterfly, I never remember how is it, how can I say it in English, but the Einstein's, when a butterfly flies somewhere in the world, something else happening in the universe anyway. She is moving something. So I believe in this. I believe that each of us can move something.
Right. Each of us can move something. And what your kind of, from your background, from your history, it looks like I said, you see something, you do it. And you've written down here my motto: it's always worth it to restart up.
Yeah.
So tell us, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, when I was young, I started to work. The idea was that you start to work and you would do it for 40 years and then go to retire. Well, the retirement for me doesn't exist. I cannot think of me retiring anyway. But, and I didn't want it. I mean, I said 40 years in the same place, really? No. And so I really started up many times. This is my, I would say, well, I was a biologist for a little time, then a restorer, then I had this kindergarten and made different things. I created a kindergarten into ancient people, how you call it in English, sorry, where old people live. When they have difficulties and they don't live at their home. I don't know the name in English.
Yeah, a people's home.
And we created a kindergarten into this place so they could speak together, little childs and old people. And it's still alive. I mean, I'm not no more there, but this is still working. Also, my kindergarten is still working. And then I went to Scuola di Robotica, which is this association working on robotics. They started before than me, obviously. And we started working on competitions, and they are still going on. So everything, I like to start. Maybe I don't like to go on and then change. That's why I restart up, because really I like to all the phase when you project and when you create new things. And then once they are steady, they go on by themselves, which is also what I think about, being a mother, maybe. and education. You start with them, you try to give them all you can to make them go on by themselves.
Yeah, so you're giving it space to grow.
Yeah.
But I love this, and obviously you and I discussed this before we came online about this. You're a great example of someone who's not had this very linear career, which is what a lot of people expect when they enter the jobs market, and I certainly expect them, honestly. I've gone from being an engineer and now I'm a coach, and you've gone through various different stages, and this is something that I think we need to show up more of, to enable people to recognize that actually, a career doesn't have to start here and end somewhere over here. It can actually have lots of different elements within your career. You're a great example for this, in terms of you've got so many different things that you've tried, that you've done, that you've created, and like you say, you start something and then let it flourish and move on. So I love to hear this, but I guess I partly wonders where you got the courage to keep restarting. What was the, and it does take courage, because you're basically pulling yourself into something new and having to learn. But maybe that's part of what drives you, is the learning, is the curiosity, like you said earlier.
Yes. Well, I am also lucky. I think it's not so easy for everyone to restart, because what makes me easier this is that I have someone at home which is supporting me. And this is not for all. I mean, well, my kids always say, "But why are you always working on Sunday?" I say, well, I like it. I mean, it's not a problem for me. I'm just doing what I like. So I'm lucky in this. Then I like also to travel. I like anything I can do. But I mean, well, it's a courage, but if you don't do it, I don't know. For me, it's worse to stay. I really cannot stay there and say, okay, I'm not well now in this place here. I see a problem and I say, well, I have to find some way to do it. Then with the age, I'm becoming more, how you say, more prudente means more conscious. So I'm not going inside like this and without thinking, because I've learned something. For example, in my years, is that you cannot believe in anyone, but not in a bad way. I mean, people with the world is so difficult, that everything is so complex, also on low point of view. For example, if you have to open a kindergarten, you have to know every law about it. And you cannot find anyone who does. So you can find someone who can help you, but you have to study it yourself, because that someone may not know many things. And this happened to me. Some things, for example, I had to learn all the business part, the budgets and how to run all the economical part, which was not in my, no one ever told me anything about it. And at first I believed in who was helping me, but then I find out that if I didn't know what to do, they would not help me the right way, because you have to know the right questions to do.
Yeah. It needs to be contextual. It depends on the context very much as to what the answer needs to be, which is what I'm hearing from you. So unless nobody can look right inside exactly what you're trying to do.
No.
But you've done so much and so many different things. But where do you get that feeling of success? What is it that's driving you? What does success mean for you?
Well, sometimes you say, there are very little things which makes me feel successful. Yesterday I was having workshops in a school with kids. There were girls and boys, and it was a team. They were supposed to make turns to use tablets and the robots. And very often happens, the males they always want to do it, and the girls stay on one side. So I just keep this tablet and said to the girl, now it's your turn. And she said, no, I'm not able to do it. And I said, yes, you are able to do it. And she tried, and she managed to do something. So, well, yes, yesterday I was very happy because I said, okay, it works. Because sometimes it's just little things which you see.
Yeah, you need to see them and then know how to give that impulse to see if somebody else will actually step up, because obviously you're creating that environment, and this is so important in schools as it is in businesses, as it is everywhere, is how we show up for other people, how we engage them. But out of all the things that you've done, what would you say is your biggest achievement? What are you most proud of?
Well, I've been working. My last, maybe well, all things I did, I'm proud of. But the thing I'm doing now, which is taking this competition to Italy from first, which is First Tech Challenge, I'm more proud because I was more conscious of what I was doing. So I decided to stop working with the association I was working with. And well, I am having how you call it, the money from the government, because I'm not working at the moment. So I'm volunteering with my association, and I said, okay, I will give me these 2 years to do this. And it was quite hard, not easy, because it's an American. I traveled all the world in this last year, and knew so many people, and met a lot of different people in the world. So now I know that if I need anyone, and if I have any project I want to do in the world, I have someone to call or to speak to, which is incredible. It was really my dream when I was a girl. It was my favorite book was, I don't know in English, The Travel of 80 Days Around the World.
Days around the world, yeah.
So I said, well, now I can do it, maybe virtually, but I can do it. And I know someone everywhere in the world. And so now we are going to have our first event in March. And I have an American boy who is helping with me, man, not boy, which is helping me from there volunteering. And I'm keeping together so many different people which are willing to help and to make a community with me. And I would never believe I would be able to do this kind of thing, because very often some people say I say bad people, bad girl, because I don't know really the word in English, but I'm scaring. I was told I scare people. I don't know why, but I really don't know why, but people are scared of talking to me. And I say, why? I just listen. I don't bite, but probably, I don't know. And instead, I have this community around me, which is incredible. So I think this is by now.
What did you, I mean, that's a big step. A, going for a not-for-profit. B, effectively getting government funding to support you going forward. These are all big steps. So what's helped you take those steps? And even like you say, going out of your comfort zone, if you want, and building this kind of international network, what's helped you take those steps?
Well, maybe now I say, well, I've not so much time in my life. I'm 50. I don't know how old I am. I am 56. Okay, I always have to count. So I believe, I want to do something. So if not now, then when? Even if maybe in 10 years I will be changing again my job, because every 10 years, more or less, I changed my job. But I had to do it just. And well, when I see these events and I see all these young people working together, it's an energy which makes me go on. But what I really want to do is to convince people that we have to talk to not only to young girls or young men, but to their parents, because they have to be sure they can change the life of their kids doing simple things. They don't really need to do nothing, but for example, for a mom, just say, well, I cannot understand how to use a computer because no one told me how to do it. And when I was young, I could not study, but you can study. You can do it when she speaks to her girl.
Yeah.
And
I hear a couple of things from you. One is obviously, like you said earlier, this kind of raising your consciousness as you get older, as you mature, as you go through your career, and also a very clear purpose of it being about something that's much bigger than you. It's not just about what you're doing. It's the effect that has and how you want to see the change that you want to see in the world almost. So what is the thing that you would like to see that would be different based on where we are today?
well, at the moment, I've been traveling a lot this year, and I've been also in some different, fairs, talkings, conferences. I see a lot of talking. I think we need some more doing, because now we have a network. We have a lot of networks, but I cannot see how these networks go to the lower, how you say, level. I mean, it's okay that we are all very good. We had our careers, and okay, but we have to move the mothers of the kids who are at schools and they are working, in the supermarket, and they have a lot of problems, but you can move them with simple things. We have to do it. And women should also say, okay, we can change the world, because, I mean, women's educate. They are responsible for education in quite every country in the world. So if men are like this, we women should say, maybe it's our responsibility if they are like this. But we who are lucky because we have culture to understand what is in the background of all this, we have to talk to other women and help them, not judge them, because there is a lot of judging. Teachers, which are women, judge mothers of the kids because they don't educate the kids. So we don't have to judge between each other, but we have to help and to encourage to do different things.
I love that. I'm always talking about how we get away from this competitive streak and actually engage, co-create, collaborate, and leverage one another. And that's part of what we're doing with the G100 wings. But it's how we engage more people. And I know you and I, again, we had this conversation before we came online about how we lower the boundaries to get into these activities, to just help people just try. Because we do need so many more perspectives coming specifically into tech if we want to create tech for good that's going to create change, social change within the world as well. And this is part of it, is obviously the bit that you're doing around the education. We've got to make the education fun and more engaging for all levels of society to get involved and to not be so scared of just trying like you're doing. I just keep trying. I just try new things. When I think it's interesting, I get curious. I love to hear that from you. And I think your story can really help inspire people to recognize that actually, I don't need a lot to try, but what have I got to lose? And I do think, again, you and I are kind of similar in the fact that we have changed our careers and we're just exploring new things. But what would be that advice that you wish you'd have had a much younger, and obviously when we were talking it's sort of 10 years old, but what is that advice you wish you'd have had at that age to help inspire you to have more courage, to be braver? I don't know.
Well, I think I lost a lot of time in school because, well, I simply hated my school years because I didn't want to hear, but I wanted to work on, and school is still like that, unfortunately, not all, but most of the time. You sit and just listen to, and I could not listen if I didn't write something, so I draw. And I was always said by my teacher, no, you don't have to draw, you have to listen. But I cannot listen if I don't draw. But it was not and I had a very old teacher in the first years in the primary school, so she was really terrible with me. And even because, well, my mother was one of the first, divorce. It was 74, so in Italy it was not so easy as a Catholic place to live, and they would give fault also to me, not only to them. I mean, what's my fault? I'm the child, in any case. So. And in that period, I really did not get the occasion to talk to my other mates in the classroom.
Yes.
And this went on up to university. So I think I lost a lot of exchange possibility with them because I felt not, how you say, not in the same level. I felt not good enough, or I was very shy. I would never go to dancing or because I didn't felt good in that. Maybe now kids are, I see many kids are still in this situation. I believe school should really focus on making kids feel good at school and with other boys and girls. And this is something we should work on.
Yeah, I always talk about, imagine if we could engage every child in what they're good at, so that by the time they leave school, they're kind of coming out with a confidence of what they can contribute in the world, rather than just what's right or what's wrong, what's black and what's white. And I agree with you, we've still got this very kind of narrow school system, which some children fit in, but a lot of children don't. And, that does, unfortunately, mean that they don't engage in subjects like you and I are and other things because they feel like they're left behind. They've been kind of othered by the school system. So so what was the turning point for you? When did you recognize or when did you come out of that phase, if you want?
Sorry, when did you come out
of that phase of being very shy? When did that change?
Well, maybe when I finally get to in the end of my high school, well, I started having different roles also in Scouts. I was I don't know the names in English, but anyway, I had a group of girls to take care of. Which were from 11 to 16 years old. So this made me feel responsible for, because I didn't want to listen. I wanted to try to do things. This was always my my thing. And well, so I started there, and then I started restoring. And also there we were training and we were creating a new entity which didn't exist before I arrived there. So it was also there a starting of something. And well, then I really believe anyone can change his life at any point of his life.
Right.
My brother, he went to work when he was 16 in the hotels around the world, and then at a certain moment in his life, he decided he wanted to have a diploma, and he was in Russia, and he decided to have a degree in Russian. So he got a degree they said he would never do anything in his life because he didn't study it at school. He was really considered unable to do anything. So he started to work, and then he decided to add a degree in Russian, and then he had a degree in Chinese. And I said, I'm in. why. Ancient Chinese, something which was absolutely, he didn't read a book when he was a young boy.
Wow.
So you can change.
Yeah.
I mean,
what I hear from you is interesting, because it feels like at the point where you recognize the value and your contribution in terms of being able to look after others and enable others, that's when you started actually recognizing what you wanted for yourself. And it's interesting to see that shift, because I do actually see it quite a lot. And it is, again, it comes back to having a purpose, knowing why you're doing it, and then being able to contribute in a way which feels good for you. But I love your story. I think you've got so much to offer, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that this isn't your comfort zone and actually having these conversations online. So thank you so much for taking the time to dive in a little bit and let people hear a bit about who you are, what you do, and the journey that you've been on. Because I really think this is where we can help people, like we were saying, break down barriers, get involved, and see that they can do something different. So thank you, Sandra. Is there anything you'd like to share before we close?
Well, I think people should really try to be involved in doing something in their communities. I mean, there are so different places. Volunteering maybe is something which involved my life. I mean, I work, but I worked a lot in this area. But also volunteering, also just 1 hour a week maybe can change your life, because you can volunteer in different areas. You can go choose whatever you would like to learn or to do, and you might meet people which will change your life and make you change your job maybe, or you can never know. You have to get out of your house, know people, and do something.
Yeah, I love that. I know the feeling when I go in and see the kids that I work with at our local charity, and it's just such a different feeling to everything I do kind of in my day to day. So I can certainly second that. So thank you again, Sandra. It's been great to get to know you a bit better. I always like these conversations because it actually gives us a chance, one-on-one, but obviously with other people there, to just get to know each other and exchange a bit, which we don't always get time to do, actually take the time for a conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you.